Okay, so like I said, we're gonna outline this guy, and I found the paper that I used to outline him originally. What I did is I took the hinge and I basically outlined it once, and once I got a feel for the size, I kind of replicated it. So he came out pretty much the size I expected. You could pretty much see I could lay him right over this, and it's about the size. I didn't measure the hands, but the hands just kind of came out. They came out about right, and you know, for the neck portion and all that, everything worked out. You know, as you can see, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do for the center section and down here, but when I get to those more intricate pivoting points, I'll explain what I did. And you could totally figure something out yourself, or if you see something in the hardware store that you think will be a good support for the hips or for the sternum. It's just what I did worked for me. So knock yourself out. So anyway, I'm just going to show you this rather than draw a smaller one or another one, because I think you get the idea. It's pretty much in human proportions for your own edification. I was an anatomy student specifically for sculpture. When I was in high school and later in college, I took a sculptural anatomy class, and I was specifically very influenced by Michelangelo, you know, the Renaissance artist. He, by doing, you know, autopsies on cadavers and stuff like that, he learned a huge amount about the body. And one of the things that he kind of pioneered and things like that is he, instead of looking at previous Renaissance artists and drawing the scale of the body to being out of proportion to, I believe it was 8 heads per body. In other words, if you took one head and measured it 8 times, that was the scale. He realized that the body was 7 3/4 heads. So on my little, you know, doodle over here, I measured what I thought would be one head. Now, keep in mind, this is just the neck. Now, the part that I have taped off is where the neck ends. So this part over here is actually where the head will be placed, and I'll get to the head later. But that part I measured out 7 3/4 times. Multiply that by the rest of the body. Now that's in standing posture. Obviously, he's kind of, his knees slumping a little bit, and he's not standing up perfectly straight. But so 7 3/4 heads is mathematically the standard. Obviously, there are some people who don't meet that standard, but in general, that is how you scale a body. So the first thing we're going to do is, like I said, we use the hinges, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we need 14. I don't remember what I said before. 14. Okay, so that means that we need 7 of these. I definitely feel like I said more before, but anyway, we need 7 of these. Okay, I mean 7 of these and twice as many of these, so I guess that's 14. I'm going to show you what I did for these. For this part, you're going to need some kind of saw, preferably a vise or something you can put the hinges in so you could saw them off. Now, don't worry if you don't have the most keen, you know, measuring skills. It's better to cut more than less, because I'm also going to recommend that you have a metal file. because we're going to be smoothing out the edges of these once we cut them, because obviously these are not the same size they were. You're probably also wondering about the tape, but don't worry, I'll get to all of that. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to be cutting these. So I'm just going to turn this ever so slightly. And this is my vise over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my little metal hinge here in the vise. I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight because I don't want it to go flying or bend or anything like that. I got a lot of dings in my saw, so I'm going to try and keep it towards the top here. I really need to change the blade. Okay, so it's going to be hot. Make sure that you don't, cut yourself. So now I have a decent piece here. I'm going to take my nail file and I'm going to file it off, but first I'm going to do the other piece. I'm going to try and cut it just about the same amount. That looks like it might be too close. What I did a couple of times is tried to eyeball it. And if it's not exactly the same size, it's okay. Remember, it's just an armature. If you plan on animating it with clay and clothing and all of that, I mean, no one's going to notice a few extra centimeters. Really need to change the blade. Okay, so now my first couple of pieces are cut. And they're almost exactly the same size. Maybe one's a little bigger, but that's okay. That's what the file is for. So I got my two pieces right there. Now one side on these particular hinges is indented or concave. So that's the side, this side. That's the side that I want to make sure that the ball bearings are in, so they have a smoother movement. So what I'm going to do now is, one at a time, I'm going to put them back in the vise. And I'm just going to smooth them out a little bit. They don't have to be perfect. I just don't want them so sharp that I might cut myself. So I'm just rounding them off. This file's definitely coming loose. And if it feels smooth enough for you, then you can move on. Like I said, it's not exact, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but that's a good enough compression plate for me. And then I'm just going to quickly smooth out the other one. And hopefully it's good enough. Luckily, I'm not trying to win any awards with these or anything, so I should be fine. Always be careful. I definitely hurt myself doing this before. Hopefully not too bad. And looks good. So got 2 compression plates done. Alright, so in the next video we'll do the threaded wire and ball bearings, and we'll have a limb. Alright, thanks.